Hey Kim, it's Jim. Wanted to make a video for you and just kind of give you my thoughts. As you may have seen in another video, I really like just shooting from the hip when I make these and kind of just letting you know what comes to mind as I look at your site for the first time. Kind of the most candid way I can give feedback. So yeah, so the interesting thing is I was reading in your description on the group and you mentioned that you make these. That's huge. Like if you're actually hand making these, I would definitely make that known in a really obvious way. So, okay, let's go over a few things. So the most critical area of your website is the area before the fold. When someone scrolls down, what I'm saying is, I guess, before somebody scrolls down. So the area that is the fold is before somebody scrolls down. So this area that you see on the screen. In this section of the website, you have to immediately convey what you do. So when someone comes to your site, people have really short attention spans. And if you don't articulate clearly what it is that you do, then they're going to leave. One of the ways you can test this is look at your traffic in Google Analytics and look at your bounce rate. You can see how long people spend on your page. If they only spend a few seconds and then leave, that's either a sign that you're not getting very good quality traffic. In other words, like let's say that you advertise to me on Facebook and I'm not interested in ballet materials. So if I were to somehow click on your page, then I wouldn't be interested and then I would leave quickly. So that's one sign. Another sign is that you could be advertising to the correct people, to the correct target market, but you're just not clearly articulating what it is that you do on your site. So take a look at that and see how that plays out for you. While I'm thinking about it, let me show you something real quick. If you go to my, if you go to my site here, it's blog.groovejar.com. This is a blog that I wrote right here, and it talks about, so just click on this first one. It talks about how to make a really strong first impression with your website. I do a really deep dive here and give a lot of details about how to make that good first impression. And one of the most important things is this initial area right here before the fold. Give me 1 second here, okay? Designs that work the best are clean, minimal, and they really use the space. The screenshot you see here is the content before the fold on this page. You've got this nice, what they call hero image. She's confident, she's wearing the shades, it's clear with a cell here. There's just, it's simple and clean. If you look here, you've got a lot going on. So you've got you've got a message us down here, then you've got message us here, you've got these buttons, and I'm not really even sure what these are all for, but it's just too much, Kim. It's just too much. And you've got the little pop-up there. So I'm a big believer in pop-ups, and I'll get to that later, but you've got to be very selective in what you use. So this is just too much. Like the share button here. So what I would recommend is redesigning your site. And if you can't afford that right now, I understand that. But there's some small things you can do. So on a larger scale, there's a site called 99 Designs, and you can send out requests for designers to do mock-up of sites. It's like a bid scenario type thing, or basically like they'll send you mock-ups. A bunch of different designers will send you mock-ups. You can pick on one of those. It's a bit pricey, but it's well worth it. I mean, you could probably spend like $1,000 or so doing that. But if you're not able to do that right now and get a completely redesigned site, there are a few things you could do. One, I would make this image. Think about what image would best convey what you do. Not a bunch of different images, but what single image could you use, kind of like this, that conveys what you do. And then in your description, in your logo, make sure it says what you do. So you need to articulate on your site by showing them what you do and telling them what you do in writing. That's going to really capture people's attention and let them know immediately what your site is all about. And also be sure to use really high quality images as well when you do that, or a really high quality image. Okay, so that's one thing to keep in mind. And like I said, take a look at the blog post. I take a real deep dive into making a strong first impression. Okay, so it looks like this is a video. That's cool. Let's see. Let me watch this 1 second. This is great. Video sells. Video is so critical. So it's great that you're doing this. It also, I assume that's you. It helps people connect with you, and it builds trust as well that you're the person behind the brand. So that's awesome. I encourage you to use as much video as possible. The bottom line is, and it's really of no value to you if I'm not fully candid, your site just needs to be redesigned. It's just not aesthetically pleasing. I think you have an awesome product and a lot of potential, but it just needs a redesign. That's the number one thing that it needs. It's like these product images here, they're just not aesthetically pleasing. They're not, the images are kind of uneven, and it just doesn't make people want to dive in more. That's just it. And that's a bummer, because I'm really excited about what you have to offer here, and the fact that you make these, and that you have a really specific niche. One of the things people really struggle with is they try to be the jack of all trades. And you've probably heard the saying before, if you market to everyone, you market to no one. And the fact that you have a really niche product is so critical. Like, you're so far beyond a lot of people in just having that I really hate to see you lose sales because of poor design. So that is first and foremost. Okay, let's look at a specific product image here, or product page, and talk about that a bit. All right. Okay, so I guess I'll just pick one of these. Okay, let me read here. Okay, so a couple things, Kim. First of all, having reviews is critical. I mean, think about when you buy things on Amazon, or when anybody buys on Amazon. Like, for me, if something doesn't have any reviews, I don't buy it. And if it doesn't have good reviews, I don't buy it. I know you're just getting started, growing your site. So it's going to take you time to get reviews, but definitely encourage your customers to leave reviews. Maybe offer some sort of incentive for them. The more you build up these reviews, the better you're going to convert. And then another thing, when you write these, it's important to have, so a couple of things. So high quality images are important. This is, you can scroll in. Yeah, I mean, that's fine. So the more high quality images you have of the product, the better. So this is fine. It seems a little bit grainy when I scroll in, but not bad. And then also, listing your features is important, but think about the emotional words behind why people buy. So what are the emotions behind wearing, yoga pants or ballerina leggings, right? Think about the emotions of people that are shopping for these and what they're looking for. So if it's parents shopping for their children or whatever the case is, articulating the benefits, like how is it going to benefit the person, and the emotionally charged words behind why people buy are important to understand and to research. Look at this example here. So this is just like a hand wash or whatever, and you can pause the video and read here. But it's interesting down here as well. Like, there's one whiff of the soothing sea scent, and you may be inspired to stand on the bow of a sailing ship with your arms outstretched like a bird flying towards the shore. So this really captivates emotions, and it's hand soap. So you have to think of, like, what are the emotions that you are going after and need to captivate in your audience to make a connection with them. And remember, write to one person. Don't write to a group. Think of the one person that is your target audience and write to that one person in your copy. That's going to be huge. And then just, of course, applying these principles to all of your different products. Okay, let's go look at your About page. Let me pause it to get there for a second. Load your page up, and I've been trying to load it. I've had the video paused trying to load it for a long time. Look at the bottom left of my screen right now. It says connecting webbies. I'm not sure what that is, but that seems to be slowing down the load time on your page badly. And that's definitely a problem in terms of people being able to interact with your page. I don't know if it's on my end. I don't think so. I mean, I've got a fast internet connection, but this seems to be slowing down the load time. So I can go back, but it's not letting me, when I click the home page here, it's not letting me load that. So let me see if I can just get to your About page down here, because I do want to see that. Okay. And then see, it's loading. Look at the bottom left of my screen. It's loading something else here that's taking a really long time. So let me pause it and let that load up. So Kim, this is really great. People connect with people, not with brands, not with companies. So I always encourage people to have two things: to have a picture of themselves on their About page and to wrap text around it. You've done both of those things, which is really great. And you've got some really good copy and some nice pictures of yourself here doing what it is that you do. So that's really important, and that's really great that you've done that. This is excellent. Really, really good. In a video here, that's perfect. Is it duplicating? 2007, head of the artist. I don't know if I'm seeing this right. It looks like this may be duplicating down here, like you've got it on there twice. Double check that. If so, I would just clean that up. And I think it's plenty, like above here is plenty. So, but that's really great. Okay, so the last thing I wanted to mention is, if you think about it, when someone comes to your homepage or to your site, the most valuable commodity is their attention on your site. The only way you have of capturing that attention again is collecting email addresses from that person. So once you do some of the other things that I talked about, and once you have a decent amount of traffic to your site, I highly recommend collecting email addresses. You can email, or you can click those emails and then later market to those and convert those clients. So my company, one of my companies is GrooveJar.com. We have a tool called GrooveUrgent that's a pop-up with a countdown timer that compels people to enter their email address, and it converts super, super well. We use it on one of my e-commerce sites, Wet Shave Club, and it's responsible for about a third of our sales. However, there's other good companies as well, so it doesn't matter who you use, whether you use me or Sumo Me is a good one. Privy is another really good company. Just get the tool on there and start collecting email addresses and working those leads. That'll really increase your revenue, will really help a lot. But before you do that, make sure you concentrate on the other areas and focus on improving the other pieces of your site as well. Because that'll help you get the most value out of any tool like that. So, all right, Kim, hope you have a great afternoon. Let me know if I can answer any questions for you, if you wanted to take a deeper dive on any specific topics. Take care.